Good evening and welcome to the Isleta Independent, feedback. And welcome to Isleta Independent School District's meeting of the Board of Trustees. We invite you to share your comments with the board during the public comment portion of our meeting. Public comment sign-up cards show the rules for participating.
I feel like it's Oz.
Yeah, it's, oh God.
One job, guys.
No? Hello? There we go. No, it's still feedback. Hello? No, it's just a. Hello? Okay, I'll go ahead and start again. Good evening and welcome to Isleta Independent School District's meeting of the Board of Trustees. We invite you to share your comments with the board during the public comment portion of the meeting. Public comment sign-up cards show the rules for participating. Legally, the board may listen but may not enter into discussion on the issue related. This meeting of the Board of Trustees is called to order at 6:08 p.m. We have a quorum with Charlie Bustillos, Sotero Ramirez, Mike Rosales, Connie Woodruff, Catherine Lucero, and myself, Richard Cudier. President Ochoa could not attend this evening. Trustee Lucero, will you please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance and moment of silence?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible. Please join me for a moment of silence. Thank you.
Trustee Lucero, do we have any citizens' input tonight?
It's correct. We have citizens' input today.
Yes, we do. Mr. Jacob Mann. Mr. Mann, you'll have 3 minutes to present to us.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for being here. Allow me to introduce myself. I'm here on behalf of Yamaguchi Ramen. We are a local startup restaurant, and we will be operating on address 2000 Lee Trevino, Suite F. I'm here today because we do plan to open with an FB license, which is a food and beverage. We are a restaurant, not a bar. And there is a restaurant a few doors down, Rioma restaurant, that has operated for over a decade with a beer and wine license. There's also a actual full bar located catty corner to Hanks High School, within the same distance. And I believe that with our track record, I've owned previous restaurants in El Paso with the same license without ever having incidents. And that is how I'm able to go through the TABC and get this place licensed. I just wanted to state our intent to open and hope that you guys receive the non-opposed well. That's all. That'll be it. Yeah.
Thank you. Is there anybody else, Trustee Lucero? Thank you. Dr. De La Torre, will you please lead us through the workshop this evening?
Yes, Vice Chair, Vice President Kadir. Tonight we've got two presentations, and our internal auditor, Champagne, is with us. We'll start with number one. Luisa Aguirre Baeza is here this evening to discuss Chapter 89 report on English language evaluation.
Good evening. As required by Chapter 89, which is the governing legislator that requires us to make sure we do everything correctly in accordance with our bilingual education programs and our English as a second language programs, we're required to give you an annual evaluation. Some very basic things regarding our STAR scores, TELPAS scores, number of students that are actually meeting exit or reclassification criteria, and then any kind of waivers or anything that we have to provide. So I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Travis Monroy, who is our ALPS compliance evaluator, who puts all this together for us.
All right, thank you, Luisa, and good evening. So again, as Lisa said, this is our required presentation of our evaluation to our school board. You can follow along on our slides. As Lisa said, we're going to start with our STAR scores. The data that you're looking at here is our combined all grade levels within the content areas, as well as English and Spanish testing results. You can see in the blue column, you'll see our scores for the 2017-2018 school year, and then the orange column represents our 2018-19 school year. Just at a glance, we can see that across the board, we had gains in all content areas, ranging from 3% in mathematics all the way up to 9% in writing, science, and social studies. Continuing on with our TELPAS, a couple of data pieces here. In 2018-19, our students who were rated in TELPAS, we had 48% of our kids rated as advanced or advanced high in their TELPAS composite ratings. This does include our kids in our kindergarten, first and second grades, and of course, by our program design, there's a lot of Spanish language instruction and Spanish language development in our dual language program. So as we get into our higher grades, our middle schools and our high schools, the percentages of our kids at the advanced high ratings goes up into the 60s and 70s. Then finally, the bottom piece, in 18-19, 37% of our English learners in bilingual education or ESL programs progressed at least one proficiency level in TELPAS composite ratings. That number also does include students who were rated as advanced high students in the year before and maintained that advanced high rating this year, or this past school year. Looking at a number of kids who met exit criteria to be reclassified as non-English learners and exited our bilingual or ESL programs, you'll see 4 years worth of data. We presented this to just kind of give at a glance kind of look at what's been happening here in the state of Texas over the last few years. You'll see in 15-16 and 16-17, we had approximately 1,100 to about 1,150 students each year reclassify as non-LEP for the following year. The big change, as we mentioned last year in our presentation, with the 17-18 school year was the first year where the TELPAS speaking and listening test was an online test. Previous to that, these tests were administered, students were rated holistically by their classroom teachers, and now they're tested in an online experience. One good thing, I guess, or one thing that we're really encouraged by, and that we understand relatively speaking, especially compared to years past, our numbers aren't quite where they used to be, but if you look at the 17-18 school year where we exited 109 students from our programs, last year we were able to exit 232. So we doubled, or a little bit over doubled what we had done from the year before, as teachers became more familiar with the TELPAS listening and speaking online interface, and our students did as well. And as our teachers and administrators worked in coordination with our department to really address academic language proficiency and development with our students. Looking at our bilingual exception and ESL waiver, in last school year, the YISD applied for a bilingual exception on behalf of 145 teachers, and as of August 2019, 25 of those teachers had passed the appropriate certification test and applied for their bilingual certificate. In last school year, regarding the ESL waiver, we applied for an ESL waiver on behalf of 166 teachers throughout our district, and as of August of 2019, 69 of those teachers had passed the appropriate certification test and applied for their ESL certificate. This came about, our numbers are fairly high, and this was in response to some late legislation that was approved or that went into effect in July of 2018 that changed our certification requirements and as far as how we serve our English learners in their English language arts classrooms and in our dual language program. So in response to that, we applied for a bilingual exception or an ESL waiver for teachers who were serving students but did not have the certification for that. There's just another note down there that says 49 of these teachers, 45 of them who were on our bilingual exception, and 4 of them who were on the ESL waiver, they were dropped from the list as we went through the school year because student codes were updated and didn't require ESL services any longer or didn't have approval for ESL services or bilingual services. Some of our students' schedules were changed to reflect the appropriate placement, and then we had a few of our teachers who left the district at some point throughout the school year. Looking ahead to this school year, we are estimating that this year we'll be applying for a bilingual exception on behalf of approximately 13 teachers. And then for the ESL waiver, we'll be applying for an estimated 18 teachers. We are in the process, our bilingual exception and ESL waiver application is due November 1st, and so we're in the process of making sure our student codes are updated and students are placed where they're supposed to be before we actually apply for the exception and waiver on November 1st. So we will have final numbers on the bilingual exception and ESL waiver for 1920 on November 1st of this school year. And then finally, our summary of our professional development. We're required to provide a report to y'all on our professional development sessions that we offered that address second language acquisition instruction, and that's on the left-hand side of your report there, or of your slide there. You'll see we've broken the majority of our sessions fit into 4 different categories that focus on foundational reading skills, developing reading comprehension. And when we talk about reading comprehension, it extends past just, do I have a literal understanding of what I'm reading? Then we also offered a number of sessions on sheltered instruction and on academic vocabulary development as well. On the right-hand side, you'll see the breakdown of professional development that we offered in response to the exception, the bilingual exception and the ESL waiver that we applied for in the 18-19 school year. You'll see that we had 11 sessions for ESL certification test preparation and 5 sessions for our bilingual education certification test preparation. This is where teachers were allowed to come in, learn some second language acquisition theory and methodology. And then there was also some kind of some preparation for the certification test itself, so that teachers weren't, when they first took the test, it wasn't basically like their first exposure to these types of things. We also offered the same sheltered instruction training as part of this, the requirements in Chapter 89, in which teachers could learn kind of a more comprehensive approach to how do we implement sheltered instruction in the classroom. That way, where we did have ESL students or bilingual education students in classrooms with these teachers, it wasn't just compliance on paper that they have the certification, but it's also that the instruction is meeting their individualized needs. And that's our presentation for the evening.
I just had a quick question. Can you
Yes,
go
sir.
back to the slide where the number of students that are exited?
Yes, sir.
Since there's such a big gap between what was happening in 2015 through 2017 and what's happening now, have you ever looked at the ones that are exited, since most of them were in elementary, how they're scoring on STAR and EOCs now that they've been exited from the program? Because there's such a discrepancy that I worry that maybe they should have not been exited and lacked on some services that they might have still needed compared to what we're exiting now.
We do. In years past, and actually it's continued in the 17-18 school year, and we're anticipating it continuing in the 18-19 school year. But historically, our first and second year monitors have done exceptionally well. In some cases, even outperforming the general population on passing rates in STAR and things of that sort. So we do, I think with confidence, we kind of proceed that when the kids meet their reclassification criteria, they are English proficient and they are prepared linguistically and academically to be successful as they continue on. And our evaluation or our reports on our monitored students is available in our full program evaluation document, which will
Thank
also
you.
be last year's will be available on November 1st as well.
Thank you.
You bet.
Mr. Ramirez, I'm sorry.
Yes, sir.
You said those numbers are available, that research, that data is available?
The first and second year, for the 18-19, we can make that available, sure. We have it.
I'd like to see it.
We didn't put it forth and we didn't include it in this packet, but we can certainly get that for you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Is there any other questions? Thank you.
All right, we appreciate y'all's time. Y'all have a good night.
At this time, I'd like to invite Dr. Brenda Chacon to the podium. She'll work on a Vision 2020 update along with colleagues. Nope, let's do it from here. Let's do it from here because there's a number of us and we can probably do it easier from here. You're welcome.
All right, good evening, Vice President Cuder, members of the board, and Dr. De La Torre. Tonight, we'd like to provide an update on our Vision 2020 Strategic Action Plan. Believe it or not, we are coming to an end to Vision 2020 and getting ready to share our next steps to begin the new strategic plan. And throughout the 5 years, we've made some adjustments and updates to the plan to align to our practices. One of the biggest adjustments we made was moving from 5 goals to 3 goals, the first goal being the high academic achievement leading to post-secondary readiness. This is supporting our students so that they are ready to graduate to college and career ready. Goal 2 is all about our people, taking care of our employees by providing attractive services, benefits, and professional development. This also includes measuring the customer service we provide to our parents and community. Goal 3, finance and operation, making sure that we use our district resources effectively and efficiently to remain fiscally sound. We defined our district standards that drive the decisions that we make as a district. We have 4 of those. Safety being our first one, providing an environment that supports not only the physical safety of stakeholders, but to also include the emotional and intellectual well-being of our stakeholders. Courtesy revolves around the interaction and the excellent customer service that we deliver to one another. Innovation, providing real-world experiences through current practices, and accountability, holding ourselves responsible for our actions and for our decisions. These standards are also complemented with the values and behaviors that we hold ourselves accountable to. We define 6 of them, and those are passion, integrity, honesty, trust, care for others, and respect. There's so many moving parts to Vision 2020. The goals and the targets that are in the plan are seen in several other areas in the district. The goals are part of our superintendent's evaluation. They are part of the accountability process for district leadership and principals, and the goals and targets are outlined in the district and campus improvement plans, which are sometimes referred to as our SIP or DIP. And at the end of the school year, principals and directors are given a scorecard that reflects the targets or goals that were or were not met for the given year. To meet these goals and targets, we provide our leadership team with ongoing support, and this includes our professional learning communities, or our PLC, which is time to plan for lessons and to develop our assessments. Campuses are also afforded time to discuss student interventions so that we can intervene as early as possible to address the academic or social emotional needs of students. And this process is called Response to Intervention, or RTI. We provide monthly leadership meetings with principals and assistant principals that address district initiatives and expectations. Examples of topics that are addressed during these meetings includes an academic focus, service excellence, safety, and discipline scenarios. We also conduct instructional rounds at campuses with our leadership teams. Instructional rounds are classroom observations that allow the observer to look at classroom instruction in a very focused and purposeful way. Observers are given the opportunity to collect data, offer feedback, and provide recommendations to the hosting campuses. We are constantly monitoring the targets throughout the year by looking at several data reports that help keep us on track to meet our targets. Data reports such as Common Formative Assessments, iStation reports, Imagine Math reports, TELPAS, and STAR. So let's look at Goal 1.
Good evening. The next few slides will show data reports over a 2-year period in the areas of approaches, meets, and master's levels. You can see by the amount of green that we are making progress in most areas. The red are our areas of opportunities for our students. We continue to focus on pulling from the top and have made gains in the master's area by providing campus support, district-wide professional development. This Saturday, we are hosting the GT conference that will continue to provide information that will support our campuses to improve our academic growth. In this first slide, you see grades 4 and 7 in writing, science, and social studies, And you can see our areas of improvement are in 4th grade writing and in 5th grade science. We're looking at our master's grade level in science at 8th grade, which dropped. Significant target of improvement there. Campuses are working collaboratively to address that. In the next slide, you do see students by, again, student group. You have reading.
It's that one. It's this one. She's addressing this one. You're on
Yes. Yes.
But
The
the science
reading.
isn't available to them there. Any,
That was the slide that
that would be the following slide.
we took.
Okay. So the next slide, you have student achievement again by student group, science, social studies, and you see how the green indicates that we have been improving consistently. Sorry?
Yeah.
I have the clicker. Again, this slide shows, again, by student group, the areas of science and social studies. And you can see that in social studies, meets grade level, needs an improvement. Everyone else continues to improve. The next slide, you have our high school areas, English 1, English 2, and Algebra 1. And you can see again that we have made gains in student achievement. We do need to focus on our English 2 this year, which showed drops in approaches, meets, grade levels, but we did show a little bit of increase in our master's grade level. We continue to work with the campuses and the Department of Academic Services to provide constant support to individual campuses and provide opportunities for staff development district-wide. Now we're going on to Goal 2, our people.
Thank you, Rosemary. So for Goal 2, as you can notice, this is how impressed our staff is with one another, how impressed our parents are with one another, and how our teachers and other staff members visualize their administration. The first table that you'll notice is the overall survey for our district administrators rating central office administration. And our ultimate goal is to be above a 4.0, and as you can see, we're at a 4.43, which is well above, a little less than what we were a year ago, but definitely still on the right track. And our next survey, this is how our campus employees rate their supervisors, and 5,281 employees out of 6,000 took the survey, and the overall mean for the entire district was 4.0, so exactly where we want to be at this time. And then when we talk about parents, we actually had a significant increase in parents that completed the survey this year. We went from 9,000 to 10,000, which is a great number. And our parents were even more excited with us this year than they were the year previous, because we're at a 4.38, which is 0.38 above what our goal was. So we definitely made our goal on all of these. One thing that I will add that is not on it is this year we hired 80 new teachers in the secondary level and 76 new teachers, nurses, and librarians at the elementary level. Any questions at all on that part? Thank you.
Sorry. So moving along to Goal 3, which covers finance and operations. As you know, the 2015 bond was the major element in this particular section, and we had 4 pillars to the bond. We committed that we would deliver all the projects on time, under budget, whenever possible, to use local labor, and that our students and parents would have the quality that they deserved. So this slide actually shows you all of the projects that have been completed, and you'll see by the color coding whether they were completed in 2016, 17, 18, or 19, those in gray. are almost complete or are complete. We have one project under construction right now, which is the sports complex at Bel Air High School. The substantial completion date is December 19. We anticipate in January we'll be moving in gymnastics equipment and other things like that, but the building will be turned over to us in late December. And then finally, we have 3 life cycle bid packages. All of these are designed and ready to bid out. However, because many of them have crossover elements within the 2019 proposed bond, we don't want to duplicate efforts at a campus, disrupting their operations twice. So all of these, in fact, are on hold until we have an outcome from November 5th, and then we'll be able to move right away regardless of what the outcome may be. And then I believe Dr. Chacon is going to address the district scorecard with you.
Thank you. So I just passed out the district scorecard. This kind of summarizes all the superintendents and targets based on Vision 2020. Of course, you know this cascades through the organization. This becomes superintendent evaluations, which in turn becomes our campus scorecards. It goes into our SIPs and our DIPs, and it's just cascading throughout to make sure that that accountability is there throughout the district. So I gave you a copy of it because I know it's a kind of small. So of course the green shows that we have made our 2% growth or more. We also have a little bit of red and some yellow, even though we've maintained them. For example, the 5th grade, we're still maintaining at 90% or more. We dropped 0.8 of a percentage. So the scorecard there kind of shows you how we're doing this year with 18-19. So many of our targets, we continue making most of them and maintaining those, increasing most of them and maintaining those that were set forth by the board. That's goal 1. And then you also have goal 2 and goal 3. Okay. So looking in the future, our next steps. So this is our last year of Vision 2020. Can you believe it's 5 years already? Just like that, in a blink of an eye. So as we look, we're thinking of Vision 2025. We're going to start the strategic action plan process to begin to bring those stakeholder groups together, from teachers, administrator, yourself, the board, parents, community members, to see, okay, we've done some great things for the last 5 years. We continue growing, but we know that there's areas that we can also improve, and priorities have changed. With that also, I want to mention that House Bill 3 mandates an early education plan and a college and career ready plan that has to be approved by the board. So you should commend yourselves because you're way ahead of the ball game. You've always had a strategic action plan. It's been a 5-year plan. You have targets set that become the superintendent's evaluation, and that, if you read the law, is exactly what they recommend, although it doesn't have to become superintendent's evaluation. They highly encourage it as a best practice. The goals have to be measurable, and they also have to be progress monitored throughout the 5-year plan. So House Bill 3 does mandate early ed, specifically focusing on 3rd grade reading, which again has always been your priority. So that'll be nothing new, along with mathematics and the different college and career readiness pieces. The biggest change for us is pre-K, is to progress monitor it, but we always do. Our pre-K students take the circle assessment every year. Now we will just have to bring forth those progress monitoring pieces. But we are working on this. Hopefully in November, we can start convening the stakeholder groups and start thinking what is important for the next 5 years of this district, along with your support. But we do appreciate everything you have done, and again, for being so forward thinking in your strategic action plan. Any questions? Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you all for that presentation.
Thank you.
Champagne?
Good evening, everybody. Do you have any question on the last month's package? And I do place a package on your desk that's about the evaluation. Please read it and let me know.
Are there any questions for Ms. Champagne? No? No. Thank you, Champagne.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. We will now discuss agenda items as listed in the posted notice of regular meeting of Isleta ISD Board of Trustees for October 15, 2019, and related recommended motions with the superintendent and executive cabinet, and receive responses to questions and/or requests for additional information through the superintendent in preparation for deliberation and action on said items on October 15, 2019, regular board meeting of the regular Board of Trustees meeting. Okay, if you have any questions, please stop me. We'll start off with the consent agenda items. Number 1, Board of Trustees Workshop, September 9, 2019, 6 p.m., the minutes of. Number 2, the minutes of Board of Trustees regular meeting, September 11, 2019. Minute number 3, minutes of monthly financial update, 08/2019. Number 4, designating and renaming of REL Washington Elementary and Edgemere Elementary Schools as international schools.
Mr. Kuder?
Yes, Ms.
I
Woodruff.
was wondering about number 4 and actually number 5 and number 6, possibly moving those to so that they can get more recognition for these things out of the consent agenda.
We can pull those.
I concur with number 6 as well, so.
I'm also just like to say it's very exciting to add more international schools.
Right.
I think that's a really awesome
Yeah.
thing. So thank you, Ms. Woodruff, for saying we should pull those. I think that's a wonderful recognition. Okay, number 5, naming of Del Valle Middle School Library.
The same
Oh, that's
thing-
the same thing. Yeah, same thing.
To me, 5 and 6 also need
Absolutely.
to be pulled so that we can.
Is there any questions on them or anything you'd like to discuss besides pulling them? No? Okay. Number 6, naming of Isleta High School Fine Arts Building. I know we're going to be pulling that also, but any questions on that? Okay. Number 7, use of facilities of El Paso County High School's All-Star Football Game related events. Okay. Number 8, approval of award of YISD contract number 202-00024 with Texas Tech University. Annual report, number 9, annual report of purchasing cooperative fees. Okay. We'll now look at the action items. Number 1, appoint or reappoint the 2020-2021 representative to the El Paso Central Appraisal District, CAD Board of Directors. Number 2, update the class size waiver list through TEA. Number 3, approval of award YSD contract number 202-00045 with Academic Specialties, Texas. Okay. Number 4, approval of award of change order to number 3 to YSD contract number 201-80177 with Aztec Contractors Incorporated. Okay, and then close the executive meeting. Number 1, discuss candidates for the Associate Superintendent of High Schools position. So if there's no other questions or discussions, do we just adjourn, or we don't have to have a movement? No, just adjourn? Okay, we'll adjourn. Thank you. Quick and easy. Yeah, I should get. I got you all out of here before 7. We could catch the baseball game. No. Is the baseball game today?
It would be Washington.